thank you all for coming. My name is Suzanne Ross. I'm the Director of Mortgage Product at Ocrolus. Today with me is John Lowenthal, Director of Sales, and our Senior Technical Product Manager, Becca Seward. John's going to start us off here and talk about who we are at Ocrolus and what our mission is within the mortgage space, and then hand it off to Becca to demo our bank statement loan income worksheet. We're very excited to have you all in attendance today, and we will take a few questions at the end, as John just said. But while Becca and John are doing their piece, if you guys could stay on mute and put any questions you have in the chat, I will be on the other end of the chat trying as hard as I can to answer as many as I can as we go. So with no further ado, John, go ahead.
Thanks, Susie. All right, awesome. And want to appreciate everyone for hopping on here, both folks who are using Ocrolus today and folks who are newer to Ocrolus. So I'll kind of start at the top quickly to give a high level view of what we do. And you can see that right in our mission statement. We're a fintech infrastructure company, and there's a lot of cliches there. But essentially what we're doing is we're allowing lenders to make high quality decisions with trusted data more effectively and efficiently. So Ocrolus is vertically focused on the lending industry in general and the different verticals. And today we'll be talking about mortgage and specifically kind of those bank statement loans in the non-QM world. And today Ocrolus is working with a handful of different mortgage companies, actually 8 out of the top 30 largest lenders in the country Ocrolus works with today. A few of the logos you can see on the side, on the right side here. But at the end of the day, Ocrolus is a solution that's easy to work with, easy to implement. Time to value is key here. And you can interact with us in a few different ways through our API, through pre-built integrations such as the Encompass integration we offer, but also today through our web UI, which Becca is going to be demonstrating in a few minutes. At the end of the day, though, our solution is looking to empower processors and underwriters and really give them a tool to allow them to be more effective and to make more cerebral decisions and do less of that day-to-day busy work that can be time-consuming, particularly around bank statement loans, which we'll be focusing on today. And at the end of the day, the goal here is, and a lot of the goal for many lenders is to turn fixed cost to variable cost. And given the ebbs and flows in the market, and as we're seeing an ebb right now, I guess, well, ebbs and flows can be up and down. We're seeing a slowdown, but eventually it will bounce back and things will rise back up. And to kind of get away from that hiring and firing process and solve a lot of these problems with automation. So with that being said, I'm going to kick it to Becca, and I'll be here throughout the call and at the end to answer any questions as well.
Thank you, John. Yeah, so I really like what you said, and I think it resonates well when we say that we're trying to empower users instead of replacing them. And I think we all recognize that everyone is having to make really tough decisions right now, especially as it relates to selecting third-party vendors. And at Ocrolus, we're interested in the business of helping our customers rebuild. You know, I think we've all seen, obviously, that the market has taken a downturn in terms of volume, with interest rates that are rising on the tail end of one of the most unpredictable shifts that our industry has seen since the crash of 2007 and 8. And we've all seen the headlines of mass layoffs and know that many are having to hit the reset button, but this industry is also very resilient. So many lenders are having to take the time while things are slow to look into technology partners who offer automation and digitized solutions and will allow them to scale when the market inevitably shifts upward while limiting the rise in operational cost when that happens. But they're also looking at ways to supplement their income outside of QM only offerings by looking towards programs that help not only new market entrants, but also help them beat out the competition. And one of the most common non-QM offerings available is the bank statement loan program. This loan offering opens up a lot of opportunity for borrowers who otherwise wouldn't qualify. So think about borrowers with non-traditional employment, like imagine TikTok income, or borrowers that have higher debt ratios, who are unable to provide the traditional verification of employment documents like W-2s and pay stubs. However, it's also very onerous on these lenders who process these loan types. If we look at some of the challenges, the most obvious one is having to manually review the borrower uploaded bank statements to extract deposits for income evaluation. And since the majority of the loans that are processed typically take 12 to 24 months of bank statements for review, this step alone can be extremely tedious, and it can take upwards of over an hour. And that's before they even get to the income calculation itself. But there's also the very human challenge. And we find that now borrowers are sometimes hesitant to provide their bank account login information, which completely eliminates the opportunity to utilize time-saving third-party verification of asset services such as Plaid. And lastly, we see a significant amount of fraud being committed specifically on bank statements, which is the reason why Ocrolus tackled bank statements in the first place, to try to help our lenders and their fraud analysts detect any signs of file tampering or suspicious activity. So knowing all of that, we had to think about what we wanted to build next. And the answer came again from our desire to want to help our customers get through this really tough market. So we decided to start by taking what we do best, which is bank statements, and solve for the challenges of underwriting these loan types. What we have built is a very specifically tailored bank statement income worksheet for the non-QM industry that provides all of the work, data, and transparency that is needed to streamline the calculation of borrower income. The bank statement income calculator worksheet is pre-populated with transaction details that Ocrolus automatically extracted from the borrower uploaded bank statements. Ocrolus then generates comprehensive analytics using a powerful proprietary rules engine that we've built using insights from our very large client database. And with this rules engine, we not only help our lenders identify which deposits should be considered as income, but we also help them identify things like large deposits and non-sufficient funds transactions. But we also offer varying expense factor calculations to help cover all of the different borrower profiles. This cuts out hours of manual effort and boils it down to just a few clicks, significantly decreasing the turnaround time that it takes to underwrite these loan types. And as always, like we've said, we give our lenders full autonomy to make their own decisions and eliminate all of the guesswork, displaying all of the information and calculations in one detailed printable worksheet. This level of transparency hasn't only just earned the trust of our customers, but notably, it also helps them reduce risk when they go to sell these loans to the secondary market. So without further ado, I'd like to kick it off to show what you have all been waiting for, the demo of this fantastic product. So thumbs up, you can see. Great. All right. So
yes, we can.
Thank you, John. All right. So what you are looking at right now is the Ocrolus dashboard. So this is our primary platform for our customers. It's our user interface that allows our customers to upload all of their loan documents at one time. So for this case, we uploaded a bunch of bank statements, but we also support many other income documents or loan documents that you can process through this platform. And when you're looking at books here, you see all of the books that we have on this particular profile. Books are synonymous with loans. So every single time you want to create a new loan profile, you'll create a new book and upload all of the documents that relate to that loan to that book. So for today's presentation, we're going to look at Jill Smith and her coffee shop. And you can see here, there's a lot of information in just our book summary overview. We can see obviously that there were 6 bank statements that were uploaded. So these are all of the uploaded documents here. And we can see obviously some to text signals, which I won't get into too much, but just know that there's a lot of information that we are able to extract and analyze from these documents, not just income. On your right-hand side, you'll be able to see the actual document that we extracted the data from, as well as some of the data that we actually extracted, including the transaction details. But for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to focus mostly on the financial analysis tab. The financial, I somehow logged myself out. I sincerely apologize for that. But the financial analysis tab is where we show all of the transaction details that were extracted from the bank statement. So this is going to be all of the transactions that were extracted from every single bank statement that was uploaded to this book. And if I scroll down, you can obviously see there's transaction description details. It shows you whether or not it's a withdrawal or a deposit. And even if I want to go a step further and inspect the document itself, I can see highlighted here where this specific transaction was extracted from the document. If you feel so inclined, you may enter details with an explanation or a comment. But where I really want to focus your attention for this is up here at all of the different filtering mechanisms. So you can filter between amounts, you can search for keywords. For this, for example, we may want to look at all of the Venmo transactions. As soon as I type in Venmo, it pulls all of the transactions that have the key Venmo in the description. And we also have all of the excluded and included deposits. So again, like I said, we have a proprietary rules engine that helps us automatically determine what should be included and excluded. But this is where your underwriter is going to go in and make that decision or override it if they need to. We have 2 transactions that we decided to include from income, and that is because they are marked as transfers. But say you have a personal account and all of the income is coming in as a transfer, you can go ahead and select both of those and move that to included. And this will all drive the income calculation that we see on our worksheet. Very quickly, you can also just look at transfers and recurring, and we have some other export types that you can choose, but I'm going to go ahead and navigate back to the document manager, which is where we will export our income calculator. So from this dropdown, I can select export bank statement income. And within typically a couple of seconds, sometimes 15 to 30 seconds, we'll see that this will upload to our browser, and then we'll get that download. I've already downloaded this one specifically, so I will upload it. I will go ahead and show you on this next screen. So just showing you the sheer scale of this product. It shows so many details about this particular borrower, all of the transaction details that we extracted from it, and ultimately what really matters, which are all of the expense factors that will drive what the qualifying income amount is. So as I zoom in a little bit here, we will see at the top, there's already a section about borrower loan information, and anything that you see in yellow on this worksheet is going to be something that must be manually entered by an end user. And that's just because we couldn't have extracted that information if we wanted to, like your loan number, for example. But they also have the ability to select what type of account this particular bank statement was. So for this, Jill Smith, her coffee shop, these are her business bank statements. Scrolling down, I can see all of the deposits that we extracted, and it's a lot, especially if you have up to 12 months of bank statements. But it also has all of the details you could possibly need, like the date, the transaction description, the amount of the transaction, whether it was included and excluded, like we just handled in the dashboard itself, and whether it's a large deposit. If your underwriter or your processor has made all of those changes in the dashboard and they decided that there was a change that they needed to make on the spreadsheet itself, they can do that here. It's super flexible. Now, we see this large deposit column right here. So I want to draw your attention to the large deposit flag section. So we've calculated an average deposit total based on all transactions that we extracted from the bank statements. And we typically default at a 50% amount. And this is just coming from some of the lenders that we interviewed. But if you have a different guideline and you want to change that percentage, you can do that and it will automatically be reflected over here, which is kind of the beauty of this worksheet itself, is that everything on here is 100% dynamic. All of these fields are calculated, so any change that you make is going to be instantly reflected on the worksheet. If we look at the total NSF transactions, these are just non-sufficient funds. We see these all the time on bank statements. And we also have the ability to include and exclude here if we wish. I know there are times where there are multiple NSF transactions that may occur in one day. So you may want to exclude or include as you see fit. Now, moving over even further, we have our totals, total deposits, total included and excluded in terms of income, and then our qualifying income average. And below that, we have our statement overview, which shows all of the individual statements that we collected in descending order. And it shows you the included totals, beginning and ending balances, and the NSF counts. What I really love about this section is that you can immediately recognize trends over a period of time. So in these last 6 months, we can see that the included totals have actually increased over time. So we started at a 7,000 and now we're up to 28,000 in terms of included totals. Then lastly, we get all the way over here to the expense factor and all of the qualifying calculations. So at the top, we just have 2 fields that you need to enter: a guideline expense factor and the percentage that the borrower owns of the business. So typically we see a 50% expense factor that's assumed. That's the standard guideline that we've heard, but obviously you can change that depending on what you need or what particular investor that you're selling to, whatever guidelines you're following. and Jill happens to own 100% of her coffee shop. So you can obviously see that as soon as I entered both of those percentages, there were changes that happened down here. We have our total monthly qualifying income average for a personal account. That just means that we assumed everything that came into that account, every deposit was considered income. Then we have our standard expense factor calculation, which was driven from this guideline expense factor that I entered up here, along with a CPA licensed tax preparer section or a profit and loss statement section, just in case your borrower provided either a CPA that showed that they had less expense than the average guideline, or if they had a profit and loss statement that showed revenue and expenses, they can fill that information out here. And yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to pop it in the chat, but I just want to, again, just kind of zoom out just to show you the scale of this product. It has so much information on here so that every single person who goes to review this loan file, whether it's the underwriter or the closer or the post closer, they have all of the information that they need. So they're not guessing, they're not double checking. They have everything that they need. And when you sell this to an investor later on, you can provide this worksheet as a way of showing all of your work, all of your calculations, so that you feel secure in the decision that you ultimately made. So yeah, I will go ahead and stop sharing there.
I guess unmuting is essential to talking. Thank you, Becca. I do want to make quick mention, as you can see, we will also, all of us will be at Digital Mortgage next week. So if you happen to be in the neighborhood, hope you can stop by and see us there. We will be at booth number 209. We will be showing more on this product as well as many other solutions for mortgage. And now it looks like we have a few minutes and we can unmute and open up for a couple of questions. Are we going to have a quiet group today?
So I see we have one question about, I think, our income rules, and I'm happy to take that if the team is all right with it. From Gabriel Garcia. The way our income rules work at a high level, I think this might help answer the question, is basically everything starts as an included deposit. And from feedback from our non-QM partners in key terms that we've gathered would indicate a non-income deposit, we have a list of terms that we run these transactions against. And when there's a hit, we use something called fuzzy matching logic, meaning if there's an 85% kind of threshold of characters matching. So maybe for example, the word transfer is on our list of non-income deposits. So when we see transfers, we back those out. And we have a list of terms that we would back out deposits if there's a match on that list. And those rules can be adjusted at an organizational level. So maybe you're following guidelines that are different from another lender. So maybe you're including Venmo payments and another lender for their rules wants to back Venmo payments out. We can make organizational adjustments to our income rules. I hope that gives a little bit of clarity to how we determine income deposit versus non. Makes perfect sense. That's what I want to see.
Susie, I think there was a question in the chat if you wanted to take that one, or I can take it.
There were a couple. Are the Excel sheets reconciled back to the statements? You can go ahead and take that one, Becca.
Sure. So basically the calculations that you're making within the Excel spreadsheet itself will not go back into the platform, or like the things that you include or exclude in the worksheet itself will not be transported back into the platform. It's sort of its own independent worksheet that is taken from the inputs and the changes that you make within the platform itself. So all of the transaction details come here. So the changes that you make don't reconcile back into the dashboard or the platform, if that helps to answer the question. But we are obviously looking for ways that we can try to build this exact experience in our UI itself. But for now, we just have this worksheet that works independently.
I can take the turnaround time question and the number 2 there. So first, turnaround time is somewhat variable. It's based on the quality of the document. That's the biggest variable that affects turnaround time. Ocrolus has a machine plus human approach. Our humans basically act as scaffolding around the machine when our extraction accuracy doesn't meet a certain confidence threshold. So saying that, a Chase e-statement might take 2 minutes. A set of poorly scanned statements from a credit union in southern South Dakota might take 45 minutes. But at the end of the day, the accuracy of the data is the same, which is key. For turnaround times on average, something like 20-25 minutes for a set of bank statements is what you can expect. And then regarding, do we process all national regional banks? Yes, we process any US bank statement or credit union statement you can send us. Ocrolus will process as long as it's legible with the human eye.
The next one is, an LLC or sole proprietor required to be eligible for the bank statement program? That would be more of a guideline requirement. I mean, our sheet is a little more, objective in the fact that you put information in, it's going to deliver back those calculations. But as far as whether that would be an actual guideline requirement that would be allowed, we're not going to accept or reject anything outside of what you put in the system itself. Does that make sense? I think I answered that correctly if I understood the question.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we tell you if it's a personal or business statement, we tell you what's on the document. We're not saying Ocrolus doesn't care if it's an LLC or a sole proprietor. We're just telling you what the data is, and then you can go from there. And the next question, when are these changes being rolled out? This is available now. So you can leverage the bank statement calculator today. And then Gary asked, business financial statements. We do not handle financial statements today. Sorry if I'm hogging all the questions, Susie.
No, it's fine. You were talking faster than I was able to type it out. I assume that kind of refers to profit and loss. Right now, we do give those 2 fields where you can enter just the 2 key pieces of information from a profit and loss in order to calculate the expense ratio. But we don't currently process those right now. It might be coming. I don't know. Wink, wink.
I'll take the Canadian statements. High level, yes, we do process Canadian bank statements. However, the caveat here is that the rules around things like income do not run as well on international statements. Those have been built for US statements and based on feedback from US lenders. So there is a caveat. In terms of extracting transactional data, yes, but some of these income calculations will not work the same way on Canadian statements. And I will further say Canadian English statements, Canadian French statements, no.
I see another repeat question, just to say it out loud. Is there a way for the large deposit amount to be edited by the user or the lender? Yes, that is fully editable. The average deposit, again, is calculated from all of the transactions or all the deposits. And then the percentage amount is fully editable. We typically default at 50%, but if your guidelines say otherwise, then you can absolutely change that, and you will see the changes immediately reflected in the deposits that show on the left-hand side.
Yeah, or if you have a calculated dollar amount, you can override the percentage calculation and just type in the dollar amount. I'm sorry if you already said that, Becca. The next one is fraud detection. That isn't something we can talk about on this call specifically. Please stay tuned for more information on that. But as you could see in the initial part of the demonstration, there were certain signals and flags that we could see in the overview. So you just have to stay tuned and see what those signals and flags actually deliver back on these bank statements. But yes, we will be rolling that out very, very shortly. I don't know. I'm not even sure if I should be offering dates, but if you come to Digital Mortgage, you'll get a better show. How do we deal with pictures of the bank statement? As far as I know, we can process pictures of a bank statement. These can be scanned, they can be digital, they can be pictures. We are going to process all of them the same.
They can be crumpled up, they can have coffee stains. Whatever you got, send it to us.
Yeah, as long as legible to human eye. As long as legible to human eye. I'll answer the maximum number. There's not a maximum number. I mean, I think technically there might be. It is too many for you to upload. Short answer. Kind of give you a little history. Ocrolus is one of our first use cases here was with forensic accountants and like white collar crime and money laundering. And some of those books that we got in terms were like decades legitimately of bank statements and tens of thousands of transactions. So you will not be able to upload enough in a case that it will be too many. We do not have rules though today to the second part to exclude if there's quote unquote too many. That is not something that we do.
I believe generally speaking, we support up to 36 months of bank statements for the bank statement income calculator worksheet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just about to say, I failed to mention that we can support up to 36 individual statements for this product alone, but that doesn't mean for Ocrolus processing in general.
Right.
Yeah. For Latin American statements, today, same with French, Spanish statements, we do not support generally either.
At the bottom of the hour, I guess we can call it. Again, want to thank everyone for attending. Really appreciate you guys coming, appreciate the questions and the interest in the product. So one more time, hope to see you at Digital or some of the other conferences we'll be at. Otherwise, you know where to find us in the meantime.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.